still on the inbound Bishop Ford, 130th now to Bryan. 23 minutes to get to the merge. Outbound clear. Southbound Lakeshore Drive is busy northbound to Chicago. The southbound on the Tri-State now jamming up I-80 to the Lincoln Oasis. The crash in the left lane. It's traffic and weather together on the 8s every 10 minutes on News Radio 780 and 105.9 FM.
The Noon Business Hour presented by the Village of Bedford Park. A beautiful sunshiny day. Some humidity, though, and warm temperatures. High of 87 degrees. Chance for some spotty rain showers here and there today. Right now, 82 O'Hare, 83 Midway, 81 along Chicago's lakefront. The markets are already closed on the holiday-shortened trading day. The Dow finished up 179. The NASDAQ up 61, and the S&P was up 22 points. WBBM News Time, 12:39.
The best daily deal in Chicago. The WBBM News Business Hour.
It's Personal Finance Wednesday on the Noon Business Hour. Today we're focusing on preparing kids and young adults to handle money responsibly. To talk about it, we welcome Liz Weston, columnist for NerdWallet, author of the books Your Credit Score, the 5th edition, and Deal with Your Debt, based in Los Angeles. Liz, before we get into some of what we need to teach our kids, how old are we talking here? Are we talking just teenagers, maybe junior high and high school kids?
Actually, as soon as a child understands that money can buy something, that's when you start teaching about money. We started my daughter when she was even younger than 3, as I remember, talking about, the differences in coins and their value and how you can save money, save up to buy something. We also had her contributing to charity at 3.5, so you can start this super early. And actually, you really do want to get started before about age 7. Taking them with you shopping, doing comparison shopping, talking about what you're doing and the factors that go into that. There's a bunch of different ways to get started on the right path.
And is that some of the sort of example setting and actually taking them along with you and showing them how to handle money?
Exactly. And you don't have to be super financially literate yourself. I mean, a lot of people feel like they don't know enough about money to teach their kids. But you know about comparison shopping. You know about, as they're older, you can talk about the importance of getting, say, 3 quotes before you have anything done to the house. Just that basic consumer protection kind of stuff is really important. Also the importance of having a rainy day fund. That is huge. Getting in the habit of saving a little money every time you get a check, that you have money in case the check stops. That's really important to get across to kids, the importance of saving.
Also seems important just to show them, especially the little kids, that things actually cost something. It's not free, the ATM or credit card, it's not this sort of endless supply where you can get whatever you want.
Well, economists talk about opportunity cost, which is when you use money to buy something or you use time to invest in something. Anytime you use a resource, you can't use that same resource for something else. And that's a really squishy concept for little kids. They don't quite get it. But once they spend their whole allowance on candy and can't go to the movie, then it starts coming home of why it's important to make careful decisions when you've got money.
So help us understand, do you pay for chores or do you just give an allowance where, hey, you live here and I'm your parent, so I'm going to give you a little money? It seems like there are pros and cons to both. When it comes to chores, my wife and I are saying, wait, I don't want to pay you to do what you're supposed to do just for a living.
Yeah, and this is like, I guess, the Catholics versus the Protestants in the long wars in Europe, because people have very different viewpoints coming to this. And actually, either one is fine as long as you're consistent. It is helpful to have extra, if you're going to give money to kids, regardless of what they do, it's helpful to have extra chores that they can earn money so they understand that concept. It takes a little effort that you have to do a job in order to get paid. It doesn't mean that you have to tie everything to chores because, they are part of the family. They should be doing some things on their own. But having that opportunity to put a little effort in and get a little extra money, that's the important part.
And is that a way for them to understand the value of work, too? Because they obviously can't do that until later on if you're not paying them for certain things around the house.
Exactly. And one of the things I've heard from employers is that a lot of people are coming, even after college, they're coming to jobs without basic work ethic. They don't know about showing up on time. They don't know about doing a good job. They don't know about asking the boss, what can I do now, or solving problems on their own. All that kind of stuff is important to start teaching really, really young.
When it comes to, let's move up a little bit to the teenagers here. Talk about contentment, because, man, the impulsive nature of all of us is really there in the young kids before they're able to figure out that you can't have it all. Do you teach them to be happy with what they have and don't just spend all their money?
One of the great ways to do that is to require some savings, obviously, but also to ask your kids after they've made a purchase, okay, what do you think of it now? You know, a few weeks down the road, you feel like that money was well spent? Would you rather have spent it on something else? Just starting these conversations, you can get across the idea that not every purchase works out, and you can learn something from that. And just buying stuff is, you know, can make you feel good in the short run, but over the long run, you may not feel so good about what you purchased. So just having that little bit of reflection and realizing there's something called a hedonic treadmill. We get used to what we get. You know, every time our situation improves or we get something new, we quickly get used to it. But that satisfaction that comes from having money to deal with life's ups and downs, that's much more enduring.
Is that even tougher in a social media age where you know, pictures on Instagram all the time of all the latest gadgets and trips and clothes and everything that other kids have?
Yeah, I think every generation is dealing with new pressures. I mean, the generation that came up when television was new had to deal with that insight into other people's lives, and then we just kind of ratcheted it up, you know, life for the rich and famous and all that. But over time, you have to step back and talk to your kids about, okay, what really matters, what's important to our family. And one of the things that I learned early on is to stop saying we can't afford it. What I say now is spend our money in other ways. And I think those discussions are really important to have with kids.
I like that. I like that terminology a lot. Let's talk about saving for college. A lot of parents feel that burden. Is it good to maybe get your kids in on the saving?
I think you want to be careful about saving in their name or having them save in their name, because that can count against them when it comes to financial aid time. But definitely, they should have some skin in the game with college. They should be working maybe 10 to 15 hours a week while they're in college, working summers to help pay for it. They should be possibly, if any borrowing needs to be done, it really should be on them. It's really dangerous for parents to start taking out big loans to pay for college, because they have to think about their own retirement.